Welcome back to people to Bun and Cheese Reviews. Here we are again, another top 5. I don't think I'll get bored of these top 5s, but hopefully you don't either, because there's a lot of them still to come, you know what I'm saying? But this week it's my top 5 favourite TV sitcoms. So strap in. I'm going to stop talking quick time this time and get straight into the list. Number 5, Scrubs. Ironically, this was a show I didn't really find that funny when I first started watching it, but it did grow on me over time, and I remember watching the majority of the episodes when I came home from college in the week. The show revolves around the main character JD, who at the start of the series is an intern at the hospital. His best friend Turk is also an intern there that he met in college. Throughout the show they deal with very hard real life scenarios like death of patients, relationship problems and mental health issues. All of these I thought bring a real need of realism that doesn't only bring out a good series but a good comedy sometimes as well. But I'll have more on that later. My favourite character in the terms of comedy has to come from Perry Cox, who is portrayed by John McGinley. Because he's always so sarcastic and picks the best moments to showcase this, he's also JD's mentor, and even though he comes across as both cold and hard, he does want the best for JD, and I won't ever forget when he told him how proud he is of him when he was feeling low. The janitor, played by Neil Flynn, is a very hit and miss character between being straight up annoying or funny. But Bob Kelso, portrayed by Ken Jenkins, was always another one of my favourites through his general non-caring attitude, which was perfect to change the tone of a serious situation to comedy. But the reason this show is bottom of the list is through a couple of reasons. First, I feel like the jokes centred around Turk's race could occasionally be funny, but they were used way too often and they just came repetitive and eye-rolling. The last season surely was a money grab, as I don't know how anybody could end a show with a 90% cast overhaul and think it was a good idea. And finally, because I feel like I can relate to all the other shows on this list a lot more. Number 4. My Wife and Kids. Michael Carl is one of the best father figures ever on TV, and he's only truly trumped by a few. One on this list too, but I'll get to him later. This series follows the life of a middle-class black family in America, the head of the family being Michael, who I think is easily the best character for comedy and story. He's portrayed by Damon Wayans, and based off this performance alone, it made him my favourite of the Wayans brothers. He is charismatic, driven, smart, and instills discipline in his kids through unique ways. His wife, Jay, is portrayed by Trisha Campbell Martin, a well-known, talented sitcom actress. They bounce off each other very well, showing us the rough and the good times through a marriage. It's usually the straight-up silliness of the show that makes me laugh, such as the dance at Claire's prom, all the guest appearances from Cat Williams, who is of course an excellent comedian, Junior's poetry, and Michael's obsession with Michael Jordan and how he freaked out when he met him. But just like Scrubs, I feel like some things could have been made better. As the series went on, they wrote Junior to get dumber and dumber just for comedic purposes, and I don't think it worked enough. Also, Katie got more annoying as it went on, especially with that one episode when she started stealing just for attention. And we also got another cliffhanger ending that never got resolved, which you know I hate. Number 3, Everybody Hates Chris. Okay, now we're going to get into my elite tier of this list. I remember growing up seeing some of Chris Rock's sketches here and there, and I always enjoyed them. So when I found out he had his own show coming out, I had to watch it to see what it was like. And instantly, I loved it. I watched every single episode with my mum on Sunday evenings. We drew comparisons between his family and ours. There was a lot of them. And also the same with the money situation he had, the school and the living area too. It's the most relatable sitcom on this list to me personally, as I didn't exactly have the easiest childhood. But the comedy was outstanding, with Terry Crews playing Julius, Chris's father. His cheapness never got old, and all his quotes with, "Hey, cut out the light in the fridge, that's 32-cent worth of light in there." Tashina Arnold playing Rochelle to perfection with her bougie ways of, "I don't need this, my man has 2 jobs," and being too proud to pay for her food with food stamps. And even all the reoccurring cast like Malvo, Jamone, Peaches, who was again played by the fantastic Trisha Campbell, were extremely likeable and funny, even though they were all criminals and robbing everybody. This show came out at a perfect time for me, as all the other relatable black family shows were a thing of the past that I had seen 100 times before already. I was sad when it ended, but it was about Chris Rock's teenage years before he became a comedian, and eventually it had to get to a point where he just grew up and became a comedian. And the fact they did it in 4 seasons I felt was the right amount, as there's loads of sitcoms out there that dragged on longer than necessary. Big Bang Theory. Number 2. Friends. Regarded by some as the best sitcom of all time, and I wouldn't really argue with that, as I could easily swap Friends and the one at the top around, and it wouldn't bother me too much. But what I love about Friends is the fact that each member of the cast is likeable in their own unique way. Joey's obsession with food, Chandler's awkwardness in commitment, Monica's hyper-organisation skills and cleanliness, Ross's reactions to situations, Rachel's character development, and Phoebe's just plain old weirdness. Now let me get back to what I just said about Rachel's character development. She's the main character that changes the most throughout the 10 seasons. She starts off as an irresponsible, immature 20-something-year-old and ends up being a reliable, caring mother with career ambitions and drive. Chandler also goes through changes, getting married and also becoming a parent towards the end of the show, which is something you wouldn't think would be possible at the start of the series. The best part of the comedy with the situational scenarios and jokes mostly revolving around Ross. To name a few would be leather trousers, the white teeth, the tan, the boss wants to buy my baby, and also the one with the cheesecake, which I should add is the best dynamic between Rachel and Chandler. I don't know why they didn't give them more scenes together. It's crazy to think this show could have easily lasted even longer than 10 seasons if the writers didn't choose to finish it there through various reasons that I don't think we'll ever fully know what went on. But maybe it's a blessing it didn't, as it never felt dragged out, unlike the spin-off Joey, which was just... Number 1. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So on the Friends segment, I said I could easily switch around number 2 and number 1 on the list. But the reason I put Fresh Prince just above Friends is the real life situations they tackled so well. And they actually did it all at the same time while being incredibly funny. I doubt I'll have to describe the main character or the plot for many people watching, but I'll do it anyways. Will is sent to live with his aunt and uncle by his mother, who by the way is a spitting image of my mother personality wise, for a better life that he wouldn't have got in Philadelphia. Because Will is very much, let's say, a vibrant individual, he gets into a lot of situations and trouble while living with his relatives. Some of these are getting kicked out of his new flat for a party going wild, getting hoodwinked out of money in a game of pool, and getting into a court case with his cousin Hillary's boyfriend. Despite all of this, he is an extremely smart individual, and if he wanted to, he could achieve pretty much anything in life. Both his aunt and his uncle, and when I say his aunt, I'm talking about the first Aunt Viv, portrayed by Janet Hubert, the real Aunt Viv, you know, helped him grow as a person, which is what helps Uncle Phil to be the best father figure on TV I've ever seen. He had the right balance with guiding Will and his other children to success through giving them the means, but letting them do it through their own character and strength. I'm just getting choked up thinking about it. But that scene where he is there for Will after his biological dad leaves him again was easily by far the most emotional scene in the series and in TV in general. So I just want to say rest in peace to James Avery, and thanks for being one of the best father figures I ever knew growing up. So there we are. Another top 5 list of TV sitcoms. It's been wild. Let me tell you, it's been wild doing these, and I didn't know I liked so much TV, you know, but that is it, and I won't keep you too long. I'll be out of here now, but I will see you next week for the last TV segment before we're on to something else. So, see you then.